Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and welcome to Monday's edition of the DC Universe Daily. So The Rock has been triggered by IGN comparing the Wakanda Forever box office to the Black Adam box office. I agree, Dwayne. Comparing these box offices is dumb, but you're even dumber for getting triggered by it, because by publicly getting triggered by it, Dwayne, you look a little bit guilty, a little bit like you're trying to defend the indefensible, because it is dumb to compare, the box office of Wakanda Forever and Black Adam, because Wakanda Forever is part of a very successful franchise and Black Adam isn't. But his explanations for why this is a dumb comparison are very, very concerning and make me ask deeper questions of what's going on at Warner Brothers Discovery, DC Studios, or whatever you want to call it, whatever they're calling it today. He says you can't be comparing us with the MCU and Wakanda Forever because we're just babies. We're just starting out. That explanation makes no sense, everyone, and I'll explain why. Black Adam is part of the DC Extended Universe. The DCEU, excluding Justice League, is 11 movies in, and one streaming show called Peacemaker. 11 movies and one streaming show. That you're not a baby. You're not part of a baby franchise, Dwayne. This franchise has been going since 2013. So what is he trying to allude to, saying they're just babies over at Black Adam starting out? Does this deluded little man actually think that he's going to go forward in making a separate Black Adam universe when James Gunn has already alluded to this, that the DC universe will be a new franchise that's spanning one story on multiple platforms: television, film, gaming, and animation. But you're not part of that plan. We're not there yet. We're not part of the new DC universe. We're still in the DCEU. And I really want to ask James Gunn, and I'm a bit intimidated by him, and I don't want to get told off, in front of his millions of followers. But I want to say, James, I'm not going to dictate what films you do. I'm not going to tell you what I want. The only clarification I want from you is the DCEU now DC Universe, or are the DCEU and DC Universe two separate entities? That's all I want to know. And without knowing that, it's very difficult, isn't it, for us fans? And I think they could at least freaking well confirm that. But anyway, right? He's part of the DCEU. Black Adam is part of the DCEU, right? We have Viola Davis's Amanda Waller in the film. She's part of the DCEU. No, maybe she'll be part of the new DC universe, but for now, she's part of the DCEU, as is Amelia Harcourt. And they both cameoed in this movie. So that means you're part of the DCEU, the DC Extended Universe, Dwayne, which isn't a baby franchise. So why is he saying it's something that's just started? Well, clearly, the old Hamada plan was to allow Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to have a kind of divergent Black Adam universe, I suppose, which was loosely connected to the DCEU, and, that's where they were going to go. So he's actually calling this a baby, a baby franchise. It's just started. So what he's actually saying is, because this is the first Black Adam movie, you can't compare us to the MCU because we've only just started. But it doesn't matter if this is the first Black Adam movie, my friend. It's part of a long-running franchise. The DCEU that started with Man of Steel in 2013. In fact, when the Flash movie is released, that will literally be the 10-year anniversary for the DC Extended Universe. So you are not, Dwayne, part of a baby franchise just starting out. But I understand the comparison is shit, and why IGN and other Disney shills are making this comparison, it's because Wakanda Forever isn't doing very, very well. It's not a flop, it's not a disaster, but compared to the elite peak MCU box offices, this isn't a good box office, right? But we all knew this was going to happen. This is what happens when you go all progressive. Go woke, go broke. And I'm planning another video later on to discuss Bob Iger's brand new leadership of Disney, right? And I'll explain to you what's going on there. But for now, let's talk about DC Universe, right? So I agree with The Rock. The comparison of Wakanda Forever's box office and Black Adam are dumb because the MCU is successful and the DCEU is literally a hobbling mess of a fucking flop of a franchise, even though I like a lot of the movies in that franchise. Let's be absolutely clear about that. And by coming out and being triggered to IGN, it shows you that he's a little bit nervous. He's a little bit worried that there's no future here. But one of his producers, Hiram Garcia, has claimed there's already going to be an exciting spin-off somewhere, movie streaming, who knows, for one of those JSA characters. So what is going on here? Is the DCEU connected to DC Universe? Nobody knows. How? How does a movie that barely makes 400 million, when all is said and done in a week or so's time, get spin-offs? And is The Rock deluded enough to think that he gets a Black Adam too? I really enjoyed Black Adam, but I've also enjoyed many, many bad, mediocre movies. Let's be clear about that, right? Now, it's unfair to call it a bad movie. It's a good, middling movie, right? But it would have been a worse movie if Zaslav and his people didn't kind of fix it, because it needed fixing. Don't forget, Batgirl had better test screening scores than Black Adam did. So, and this is a fact, I know what the movie was. I saw a test screening, and I know they made big changes to that movie. That's the good thing of following a YouTuber that actually goes to test screenings. It means I know more than the average bear. And this is the story of the DCEU. BVS had half an hour cut out of it. They had to then release quickly an extended version, right? Zack Snyder's Justice League wasn't his Justice League, and it was turned into Justice League. So then we had to fight for the Snyder Cut. How many more extended versions or different versions or interfered with versions has the DC Extended Universe got? Then there's the Suicide Squad movie by David Ayer, which isn't by David Ayer because we haven't seen David Ayer's version, right? This is a franchise, a messy, incoherent franchise that's had studio interference from the very beginning, or at least the very second movie, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. So I'm sorry, Dwayne, I do agree with you. The comparison of Wakanda Forever's box office and Black Adam's box office is dumb, but not for the reasons you're saying. It's because the DCEU is a bad, ineffective franchise that's been run by multiple different people, and the MCU has been run by the same person from the very beginning. And whether we like Phase 4 or not, it's a better franchise than the DCEU. I don't think the movies are better than the DCEU, but as a franchise, it's a fucking mess. So sorry, Dwayne, you are not part of some baby start-up business. You are part of a long-running franchise that has flattered to deceive for a very, very long time. So we're still no clearer what's going on with the future. Is Black Adam part, the first step of a brand new DC universe, or is it part of the old regime? Or is the old regime, the DCEU, part of DC Universe? Nobody knows. And there's lots of revelations coming out every day that are starting to make me think different things. Sometimes I think, well, the DCEU and DC Universe must be connected. That's where Superman's returned, you know, and The Rock's been talking about Phase 1. But is everyone talking from the same hymn sheet? We don't know. So if Black Adam is part of the future DC Universe and the DCEU is connected, everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet. But if we got like Hiram Garcia saying, oh yeah, we're getting spin-offs, yeah, and the box office is great, and you know, the studio's happy, and Zaslav claims he is kind of happy, right, with the injection and hype they got from Black Adam, but who really knows what's true and what isn't true? If I was Zaslav in the studio, and even James Gunn and Peter Safran, I'd be disappointed by The Rock's reaction. But you can't control him. This is my opinion about Black Adam, and I've said it on multiple occasions. I do like to repeat myself so there's no misunderstandings. Black Adam shouldn't exist. Black Adam in the comics is merely a villain of Shazam, which is exactly what he should have been in the DCEU. He should have been a villain in the Shazam movie, and Shazam 2, and maybe if there's going to be a Shazam 3, if both of these universes are like connected, if the DCEU is literally just DC Universe rebranded, right? That's what we don't know. So it was a mistake to have a Black Adam movie. It was a mistake to have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson running an entire movie and allowing him to put his own people to make it and in charge. And you see what happens. I can see what happens because I saw the mess of a test screening. And, you know, this is Hamada and Emmerich, who also allowed Margot Robbie to do the same thing. So we will see what the future holds. But I think in future, someone needs to gag The Rock. This has been the DC Universe Daily, Monday's edition here on Movies TV Mad with me, Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And I'll see you again in the next video. Until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.